back, and welcome to our spotlight on Portugal's most innovative companies. Today we have here for you in this panel 3 companies, 3 Portuguese unicorns. So I would like to call on stage Pedro, Carlos, and Miguel Soares from Mindera. Thank you so much. Please join me on stage. So Pedro, SVP, General Manager of Contractors at Remote, and Remote is enabling global employment for anyone, anywhere. About Carlos is ML and AI Senior Director of Engineering at Talkdesk. Talkdesk is scaled to 1,300 employees in 19 countries within the last 10 years. And they focus on the rid of the world of bad contact centers and customer experiences through AI cloud contact centers. And for Miguel, he's director on Mindera, and Mindera is a global tech company with operations in multiple countries, and their vision is to build the workplace where decisions are made by those impacted most, and people have autonomy to try new things. So thank you so much for being here this afternoon, and thank you so much for coming to the World Management Agility Forum. I will start with Pedro. Pedro, how is the culture of Remote shaped your operations and culture?
Well, hi everyone. I come from a company that started in 2019 and today has close to 2,000 people in 85 countries around the world, where we have operations in 91 countries. The culture of Remote was always very focused on the values of Remote. And from the main one being kindness, innovation, and ownership, etc., etc. And we always focused as much as possible on bringing talent that was aligned to these values to really impact the vision of enabling global employment at scale. So the 2 founders really wanted to solve how people are employed across the globe. How can we impact the world in a way that wherever you are, you can have a good job and you can be employed by good companies, because talent is everywhere, but opportunities are not. So we really wanted to break the barrier, and bringing people that really aligned to our values and wanted to have this impact was paramount. From default, we were remote first, so we always fully distributed. So from a cultural perspective, and I heard already my co-panelists mentioning in-office is super important for culture, for your company culture, but we never had an office. And here we are, impacting the world of employment with an amazing platform, and 1,800 people around the world really working very hard to achieve this.
Wow, what a great purpose. So 90 countries and more than 2,000 people that you have today.
Yeah, we have close to 2,000 people. We have operations in 91 countries. I think internal employees are around 85 countries or around that. And because operations for us is different from our internal employees, because we are fully distributed. So being operational in a country does not mean that we need to have people locally. But this is the reality of a company that has raised over $500 billion over the last 5 years, and today is valued at over $3 billion.
Truly impressive. Thank you. So, and now for Carlos, can you provide an example of AI transforming customer service at Talkdesk?
Yeah, so Talkdesk started as a cloud contact center company. So there was this vision that you only need a laptop and a headset, and you are full to go to have all the bells and whistles that the big companies have with their huge servers and their telephony and huge contact centers. Our main base of customers were the small and medium business in America. If you have a restaurant, if you have a body shop, a car, you can have in minutes set up this contact center. I joined Talkdesk 4 years ago to start the AI unit. We already had that vision that AI would shape the contact center customer experience industry. And basically, if I look back, what is my reference of a contact center, of customer experience, it's not a contact center, right? It's probably in my street, the mini market where I go and I ask, are those apples good because they're for my daughters, right? That's the customer experience I think we all want. And that's not what we have been delivered for the past years. We have been making people talk like machines, press 1 for prepaid, press 2 for postpaid. We have made people waiting for hours with some music, and that's not a real good customer experience. So I think that with AI, and especially with generative AI, we are finally able to deliver empathy and to deliver a customer experience that actually lives up to the customer's expectations.
Thank you. That's also an amazing purpose. Thank you, Carlos. Miguel, how does Mindera people first philosophy influence your management project delivery?
Wow, you came up with some really good questions, I have to say. A lot. Actually, this is one of our core values. When I first joined Mindera and they put this in front of me, I thought, wow, well, what are actually they talking about? We're giving a voice to every single person that is there, and it sounds quite strange, so we pretty much have flat hierarchy on our company. So there's no managers, there's no senior managers, no senior engineers, there's nothing. So what we give voice is to the people, to the engineers, or to the people that are closest to the problem, to the product, to the ones that have the best view of a potential answer. And that is quite strange for someone that comes from a different world like I did. It does impact a lot because you got a perspective from now, a much closer perspective from what you want to deliver. You got a much better insights of the outcomes, and also you can change. It's a lot more flexible to change in case something doesn't go right, because the engineers that are closer to the problem can actually relate to that and act a lot faster. It is strange at first, but it's a great principle, one that we stick with it, and it's great value so far.
Okay, awesome. So, well, there is a reason why we brought the Navy as well, because we're going to deep dive on this, and if someone gets sunk, well, we can be rescued. So let's go to other conversations now. How do you balance agility with long-term strategic goals in a high-growth company? Because I think there must be a challenge there as well.
Do you want me to start? So, within Mindera, being very blunt here, I feel like 99% of the decisions, short-term decisions, are made on a very agile way. Obviously, we've got our North Star, long-term goals, they're strategic, they're pretty well planned. But in terms of medium-short opportunities, we are very agile. As an example, our latest office that we had the opportunity to open in Australia, we knew that the market was good. We had a lead, but that was only that. We only had a lead. There was nothing like certain, and there was always the risk there. But we believe with that was enough for us to make a decision. So we took this chance, we opened the office there, and only after we opened the office there, the opportunity actually came to something tangible. So I think that balance is extremely important, especially nowadays where there's a constant change in our business technology. It's chaotic. Every year is something different. So yes, it is very important. Obviously, it's important to have your core values, your North Star, but it's also very important to adapt as opportunities come and shape as they go.
Pedro, anything you'd like to add on this as well?
Well, I think by default, agility is embedded when you're growing. It's not even like it's hyper growth. It's beyond what we experience, beyond normal growth that you would see in any company. We had years where we were growing 12 times revenue.
And you don't control anyone, basically. You just give them the intent.
Exactly, and we give them the intent. So everyone is super aligned to the vision, as I mentioned. So we have our North Star. We know where we want to head. which obviously evolves as we evolved as a company. And the first year was very different from what it is today. So we have evolved that. And we always had people that have a very high level of ownership and intent in what they were doing. It's not a flat hierarchy, but it's a very transparent and open organization where we all default to action. And there is a very high impact-driven organization. So it's having a very clear objective, but also letting people having the highest impacts possible that they could have in their own fields and really collaborate with each other for that.
But Mindera and Remote both sell mostly services. But for you, Carlos, you sell products.
Yeah, and I think
when we talk about long-term, how long-term is long-term? Because how do you understand this value creation? Value creation for 5 years from now, it might not be value creation at all. So how you see that in the perspective of Talkdesk?
Into two different things. The first, value creation is an awesome sentence. We heard Hunter this morning, and they're saying that you don't know what customer value is, right? The market will pull the value instead of you pushing the value to the market.
Wait tomorrow for listen to Kurt, and then we'll talk more about that.
Okay. But I think I'll win over the audience when I'll say that we work in short feedback cycles. Okay, I think there's always like an arrow that goes back to the place where it started. And we have, every time that we release a feature into production, there is always a preview program for a small amount of customers, the ones that are our champions, the ones that give more feedback, the ones that are aligned with that feature, with that vertical in particular. And what we do is every time that we have a new idea, the beginning of the cycle is first, does it align with the company values, right? We work in a contact center, but if the customer asks us like better headsets, okay, that's not for Talkdesk, that's for probably another company. And then the next step of that cycle is, does it align with our vision? Is it something that we want to do this quarter? Is it something that we want to do this year? And with that, we can already have an idea if that will actually be a priority for now. And then it's the question on how small of an increment I can do to actually know if I'm heading the right direction. So you just you have this question to everyone, not a flat hierarchy, but you put this question down to the people that are closer to the problem, and you expect to put that on the market like really fast to those customers in this preview. Don't do more than that. Don't try to scale when it's probably not even a good idea. Don't try to scale too soon on that feature in particular, and then just iterate. If the customers are keep asking more stuff around that feature, it's because they are using it and because you really need to invest and you complete another round of the cycle.
Yeah, one of the things you shared before, it was you give the decision to the people that has the information rather than having huge roadmaps and give timelines to upstream where you might not be able to follow as well. But Pedro, you're going to follow something on this as well. So not just services, also products?
Yeah.
So
Remote is a full product suite for global employment. Basically, you can do everything in our platform for the entire employee life cycle. So we may have started as services. It was a product, but it was very service-based on the back.
mm-hmm.
But it's a full product, like full SaaS-based type of solution.
And how is the foster innovation, value creation without sacrificing that operational efficiency? It's a challenge for sure.
It's a challenge.
Because everybody's remote. Or mostly, at least.
The challenge is not where people are sitting.
Okay.
It's much more the velocity of what we are growing, of the velocity that we are bringing new products to the market and increasing challenges. So by default, as bringing a new country, especially at the beginning when product and technology is still like ramping, like opening 10, 15, 30 countries in a single year to be able to serve our customers, it comes with inefficiency, and then it's an effort to really accelerate the product to overcome those inefficiencies. So it's always has been a balance between pushing really hard with innovation, with growth, etc., but also having a very high purpose inside the teams of how to fix the inefficiencies that we were building ourselves. So not trying to overcreate tech and operational debt, but innovation tends to go much faster than this operational efficiency. So it's trying this balance as much as possible. But given how early we are in our stage and the market that we have, the pull from the market that we have, innovation was always like hyper accelerated versus sometimes.
So would you say you invest more time in innovation than basically in process efficiency and things like that?
I don't think it's invest more time, but it's bring the innovation so that you have to fix the operational inefficiency. Because I think being hyper efficient in some organizations where growth is not there and maybe they're more stalled, maybe it makes sense. But in our case, where hyper growth was there, the pull from the market was there, the need was clear and the vision was clear, we had to push much harder with innovation, and operational efficiency was always not second to it, but something that we would be playing a bit catch up in terms of compared to the innovation side of things.
Very well. Miguel, when do you know that your company is really creating great value for your customers?
So I'm going to answer that in two ways. The first one is a constant feedback loop. So we sell service, right? So we always get back to the clients, either that being very close with product, whatever we're being developing, or quarter business reviews that we check what do we have to achieve, what little wins do we got, where are we going next. And that constant feedback loop gets to be then processed, whatever, analyzed, whatever, and then we adapt and we change accordingly, which is a great way to understand and measure if we're going on the right way or not. The second point is, by putting people first, which is, again, one of our core values, and give all the freedom and all the flexibility to our engineers. I believe we attract and we put like a stage to attract top talent. I'm very happy to say that, well, in Mindera, we're very different, as you can see, for a flat organization and no hierarchy. We're very different from the, well, let's call it traditional consultancy service. And because we're so different, I believe that's one of the points, that's one of our strengths to attract top-tier engineering, and that reflects on the work and the quality that we provide. So it's a constant feedback and having the stage to attract top-tier talent.
So you consider some of your customers buy from you because of what you are, that
Oh yeah, 100%.
that mindset and that
100%.
culture you have.
100%. And we have 10 years. In 10 years, we're 1,200 with 1,200 people in 10 years, which is a really good growth. We have office from LA to Australia. That doesn't come by chance. That does come by the culture and the way we interact with clients. So if a senior manager is across so many projects, the attention span can only go so far. So I count, and whenever we bring someone, it's always with the intention, you have all the flexibility in the world, but with that comes great responsibility. I'm expecting these outcomes. I don't care how you get it, but you bring me that. And that is fantastic, because I know that I'm not going to hire smart people to tell them what to do. They're too smart. Probably they're even smarter than me. I've got the best engineers. They know a lot more than me. I give them the direction. They'll provide the product, and that is a fantastic way to work. We all learn, and piggybacking, the last one, on innovation. That's a great way to grow innovation, because they will learn. There's internal communities where they'll share that growth, and with that, everyone wins in the company.
So is Agile really necessary, or it was only an inspiration in this journey? To all of you.
You go on now.
Carlos, how was it in Talkdesk?
It is part of the journey, right? It's not really embedded in the process, as Pedro was saying. Like, sometimes things are so fast that you just need to give the right directions. I'll give a counter example, maybe. It's more interesting. I had some really good and smart engineers, and they were focused on bringing the best product possible. And at one point, we had a specific AI product with 3,000 calls at the same time, handling 500 million calls a month, like awesome product. But actually, the product went down in production for days, It was not entirely, but 20, 30% of the customer base, like really significant. And nobody noticed. Our alarms didn't trigger for, it's IT, for a million of reasons. And the customers didn't complain. And that's like okay, you are not creating value. Guys, you have really good software, but you're not creating value. And from the point that you actually came from around that mountain peak and started having, okay, I need to create value, then it was really easy because the engineers themselves, okay, how do I know if I'm creating value? They started building every feature that they built. There was a way, a feedback loop, as you're saying, with your customers, to know, okay, what's the measurement of if this is successful or not. And we implemented so many things that we knew. If I change this, exactly, I can do A/B testing and see, okay, the customers that have the A feature or the B feature, which ones are, happier using more the product. And then, agility become part of that. I just want to see, I want to be better, I want to do better software, but in this time, not only technically, but actually on the value that the market was requesting.
Pedro, what are the behaviors that drive that agility inside the organization? Because I think in your case, it's pretty much more about the behaviors, right? Because not everybody is online all day, every day, just because they are remotely. So
No, that's exactly, we go exactly on the opposite.
I was sure of that.
Fully asynchronous organization, very document-based. We have folks, like my team, I don't even know where they are. Like, I just know that we work very heavily on documentation, so there is, like, for every initiative, like, there is clearly documented, fully transparent, open to the organization. Everyone can see, everyone can contribute. And we move very fast in that way because someone in Australia is working, maybe when I'm sleeping, then I pick up, then another colleague picks up. So there's a continuity of evolution and acceleration of work. Has the counter of, oh, maybe someone is sleeping and I need their input, so I'll need to wait for 12, 16, 20 hours. It's the counter, but usually we can move very fast and have a massive progress. And I just wanted to touch on remote, how do you see that the customer, we are creating customer value? We pay people salaries, thousands of people. So it's very quick, it's a very quick cycle to, when you don't pay someone the right amount, they will let you know very, very quickly.
Something is going wrong.
So I just wanted to share this semi-joke, which is not...
I'll also be delighted if to have some questions from the audience. So Stuart, Suzanne, if you have questions of the audience, perhaps now it will be a good time also to get some of the questions.
Any questions?
Some of you are interested to join one of these companies.
Here we go.
Oh, Kurt, he's retired. He's leaving his retirement.
Thank you, guys. When did you develop your business model? Before or after you had the product?
I can start, I guess. We started with 3 products. We have 15 right now. And it was not really just on AI alone. And it's still, like, the 3 products is still what we actually sell. It's the main vision. So if you are on a contact center, what you want to do is to automate part of the contact center, right? The chatbots, whatever. It's the co-pilots, which is also something that's very fashionable right now. And it's like a helicopter view analytics. It's only these 3 vectors. But you started, it's AI. So AI is very hard to scale. And once you put these 3 products in the market, you start discovering things. And you start discovering that you need something to train AI, because you cannot have professional services training AI. So that will kill your business model. So you have to develop something for it to be self-service. And we developed AI Trainer, and then put all the customers training the intent models. It worked great. But then you realize, okay, customer contact centers, they are like complex creatures, complex beasts. And you cannot have professional services around that. So you have self-service AI Launchpad to launch that. You want the AI to respond with customer data, obviously. Maybe the customers, they need to put data somewhere, so we created a knowledge base. So I think the strategy or the long-term vision or the pillars are still the same that we want to sell. Actually, where we had to do the work expanded a lot from customer interactions.
Anybody else wish to respond to that question?
For us was in parallel. So product was being developed, but we already had a design for what would be the business model. But we had to have a minimum threshold of a product to be able to open to the market. And actually, we were not planning to launch as early as we did, but COVID came. April 2020, we decided to open up our product to the market. Our initial product was around global employment, so allowing companies to employ people in other countries, which was critical at the time. But the business model was there. It was just getting the product threshold to a level where we could be used as a general
Can you hear me?
to the market.
Yes.
Any more questions from the audience? It's like an auction.
It's post-lunch, so it's always...
Okay. Well, any more questions from yourself, Hugo?
Yes, of course. So if you foresee evolution of management models in tech industry, what advice would you give for the audience and other people that are online watching us? We also have Mark with the online community out there. Which advice would you give to someone that is setting up a new company, a new business model, value creation? What advice would you give to them if they are setting up a new organization? What would be that advice that you say?
I can be very short, but outcomes-driven culture.
A
Really push
little bit.
for those outcomes. I think you mentioned that. I think we come from a world where we were very focused on output, like how much do you churn in terms of quantity of work. And now I think for you to be successful, for you to also address the talent that is out there today, Gen Zs, Millennials, Gen Alpha, etc., it will be an outcomes driven with a lot of freedom for folks to get to those outcomes. I fully agree with you, Miguel.
Yeah, for us, very simple. You try, fail, feedback, go on again. I think we live right now on a year or a couple of years that is a massive disruptive era, especially in all sort of different industries. Gen AI came, thank God Carlos already got a product very well defined, but for most of the industries that I've seen, it's quite hard yet to define exactly what we want, what is that going to mean, how is that going to impact. And I think the only way to be prepared for that is first, be flexible, always stay out there to learn. I think it's a time that no one knows exactly how is that going to plan out next, because it's very, very new, it's very recent. And again, that constant feedback, you're going to fail loads of times, and that constant outcome, that always in mind, it failed, how can we interact, how can we build on top of that? That is super important. And slowly, but steady, we'll get there.